All right, and in today's small group, I am going to model what's called prosodic reading, which means I am going to read with expression so you can get an idea about how it is to be fluent in reading. And by me modeling fluency, it'll also help you become a more fluent reader. So turn to page 61, and we're going to continue our reading of the Joy Love Club. Now, just to give you guys a reminder of where we are, Aunt May is trying to get out of her marriage. She found out that her husband is not really mature enough to be a husband. And because of that, it changed the direction of their relationship. They are now more brother and sister than husband and wife. And there's a contentious relationship here because the grandmother, the husband's mother, is expecting a grandchild, but he is incapable of producing a grandchild, but yet she blames the wife. So the wife now is trying to find a way to get out of the marriage. And to do that, she has concocted a way to play on the superstitions of the mother to get out of the situation. So she's basically trying to find somebody else that the husband can be with to have a baby to satisfy the grandmother. So she's lying in bed here, and she's pretending to be under the spirits. So we're going to begin on page 61. Again, we're talking about prosody. I'm going to read with expression. And during this read aloud, we're going to have a back and forth conversation here. And we're going to work on pronunciation of words. And we're going to see how this person slides her way out of the bad situation. So on page 61. Mother, I called in a hoarse whisper. Please don't leave me. I am afraid. Our ancestors said if the matter is not settled, they will begin the cycle of destruction. Quick pause. Notice, I'm playing a role here. So with the hoarse voice, I'm trying to sell the grandmother or the mother-in-law that I'm really sick.
What is this nonsense? Cried
Wong Tai Tai,
turning back towards me.
They knew you would not believe me, I said in a remorseful tone, because they know I do not want to leave the comforts of my marriage. So our ancestors said they would plant the signs to show our marriage is now rotting. Okay, another quick pause. Notice how I am using certain information to cinch my acting role. I want to be married. This is what I want to convince the mother-in-law, to not let her know of the plot that I have cooking to try to get out of this marriage. Continue.
What nonsense from your stupid head, said Wong Tai Tai, sighing. But she could not resist. What signs in my dream?
I lied. In my dream, I saw a man with a long beard and a mole on his cheek.
Tai Yai's grandfather? Asked Wong Tai Tai.
Yes.
I nod my head. I nod, remembering the panting, and I observed on the walls.
He said there are 3 signs. First, he has drawn a black spot on Tai Yu's back, and this spot will grow and eat away Tai Yu's flesh, just as it ate away our ancestors' face before he died. So you see that she knows that the mother-in-law is heavy on superstition and family traditions. So now she has introduced some information that maybe the mother didn't know. So he may have a spot on his back. Continue.
Wang Tete quickly turned to Tan Yang and pulled his shirt up. Ah, yeah, she cried, because there is the same black mole the size of a fingertip, just as I seen its past 5 months of sleeping as sister and brother.
Okay, if you notice the way she's reading, when she reaches a point of expression, she puts an emphasis on the words that show surprise. And then our ancestor touched my mouth. I patted my cheek as if it was already hurt. He said my teeth would start to fall out one by one until I could no longer protest leaving this marriage.
One time, pride opened my mouth.
One tie-tie.
Wrong tie-tie. Pride opened my mouth and gasped upon seeing the open spot up in the back of my mouth where a rotted tooth fell out 4 years ago.
And finally, I saw him plant a seed in a servant girl's womb. He said this girl only pretends to come from a bad family, but she is really from imperial blood. And
I lay my head down on
no, that's my line, I'm sorry. I lay my head down on the pillow as if too tired to go on. One tie-tie took my shoulder.
What does he say?
He said the servant girl is Tayun-Yu's true spiritual wife, and the seed he has planted will grow into Tayun-Yu's child. By mid-morning, they had dragged the matchmaking server over to our house and extracted her terrible confession. So here's what's going on here. She's trying to get out of this situation of the marriage. So she has created a fantasy about the spot on the back, which creates doubt in the mother-in-law's mind. Now she has introduced a servant girl who has claimed to be of imperial blood but does not want anybody to know it. But according to the dream that she's had, this person will bear the child out. So now the mother-in-law is thinking, not really believing, but it's a seed planted in her mind. He said the servant girl is Tayun-Yu's true spiritual wife, and the seed he has planted will grow into Tayun-Yu's child. By mid-morning, they had dragged the matchmaker servant over to our house and extracted her terrible confession. And after much searching, they found the servant girl I liked so much, the one I had watched from my window every day. I had seen her eyes grow bigger and her teasing voice become smaller whenever the handsome delivery man arrived. And later, I had watched her stomach grow rounder and her face become longer with fear and worry. So you can imagine how happy she was when they forced her to tell the truth about the imperial ancestry. I heard later she was struck with this miracle of marrying Tayun-Yu. She became a very religious person who ordered service to sweep the ancestors' grave, not just once a year, but once a day. The point, we use an expression here to sell the idea of the spiritual world as matched and made with the wrong cousin. His true wife, the one that's going to provide him with a child, is a servant girl. Without the expression of pretending to be under the spell of the gods, she could not convince her mother-in-law that the true wife for Tayun-Yu is a spiritual girl. As a result, she was successful. They went and found this girl and they beat her into a confession that she has nothing to do with, right? Then she ended up having a child for the Tayun-Yu, and that allowed Amway to get out of the marriage. It all based on expression. So as you use expression, it not only gives you a different outlook of the way the words are spoken, but it also gives you a better understanding as you listen to what's going on, because not only do you see the words on the page, you can see the emphasis and how it affects the reading to make it more fluent. And that's what we're covering today. Now, the other thing that we have to do, we are going to summarize or follow up with a reading assignment or writing assignment based on what we covered here today in class. So, we're talking about the central idea of the text. How does the author develop the central idea of the text? I want you to express to me in one paragraph, citing evidence from the text. And I want you to be sure to make a good topic sentence. Any questions? All right, you can kill it.